Word list 48. Velocity. Speed. The train went by at considerable velocity. Venal. Capable of being bribed. The venal policeman cheerfully accepted the bribe offered him by the speeding motorist whom he had stopped. Vendetta. Blood feud. The rival mobs engaged in a bitter vendetta. Vendor. Seller. The fruit vendor sold her wares from a stall on the sidewalk. Veneer. Thin layer, cover. Casual acquaintances were deceived by his veneer of sophistication and failed to recognize his fundamental shallowness. Venerable. Deserving high respect. We do not mean to be disrespectful when we refuse to follow the advice of our venerable leader. Venerate. Revere. In Tibet today, the common people still venerate their traditional spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama. Venial. Forgivable, trivial. When Jean Valjean stole a loaf of bread to feed his starving sister, he committed a venial offense. Venom. Poison, hatred. Bitten by a rattlesnake on his ankle, the cowboy contortionist curled up like a pretzel and sucked the venom out of the wound. Vent. A small opening, outlet. The wine did not flow because the air vent in the barrel was clogged. Vent. Express, utter. The angry teacher vented his wrath on his class. Ventriloquist. Someone who can make his or her voice seem to come from another person or thing. This ventriloquist does an act in which she has a conversation with a wooden dummy. Venturesome. Bold. A group of venturesome women were the first to scale Mount Annapurna. Veracity. Truthfulness. Asserting his veracity, young George Washington proclaimed, "Father, I cannot tell a lie." Verbalize. Put into words. I know you don't like to talk about these things, but please try to verbalize your feelings. Verbatim. Word for word. He repeated the message verbatim. Verbiage. Pompous array of words. After we had waded through all the verbiage, we discovered that the writer had said very little. Verbose. Wordy. Someone mute can't talk, someone verbose can hardly stop talking. Verdant. Green, lush in vegetation. Monet's paintings of the verdant meadows were symphonies in green. Verge. Border, edge. Madame Curie knew she was on the verge of discovering the secrets of radioactive elements. Verisimilitude. Appearance of truth, likelihood. Critics praised her for the verisimilitude of her performance as Lady Macbeth. She was completely believable. Verity. Quality of being true, lasting truth or principle. Did you question the verity of Cato Kelling's testimony about what he heard the night Nicole Brown Simpson was slain? To the skeptic, everything was relative, there were no eternal verities in which one could believe. Vernacular. Living language, natural style. Cut out those old-fashioned these and thous and write in the vernacular. Versatile. Having many talents, capable of working in many fields. She was a versatile athlete, earning varsity letters in basketball, hockey, and track. Vertex. Summit. Let us drop a perpendicular line from the vertex of the triangle to the base. Vertigo. Severe dizziness. When you test potential airplane pilots for susceptibility to spells of vertigo, be sure to hand out air sickness bags. Verve. Enthusiasm, liveliness. She approached her studies with such verve that it was impossible for her to do poorly. Vestige. Trace, remains. We discovered vestiges of early Indian life in the cave. Vex. Annoy, distress. Please try not to vex your mother, she is doing the best she can. Viable. Practical or workable, capable of maintaining life. That idea won't work. Let me see whether I can come up with a viable alternative. Vicarious. Acting as a substitute, done by a deputy. Many people get a vicarious thrill at the movies by imagining they are the characters on the screen. Vicissitude. Change of fortune. Humbled by life's vicissitudes, the last emperor of China worked as a lowly gardener in the palace over which he had once ruled. Vie. Contend, compete. Politicians vie with one another, competing for donations and votes. Vigilance. Watchfulness. Eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. Vignette. Picture, short literary sketch. The New Yorker published her latest vignette. Vigor. Active strength. Although he was over 70 years old, Jack had the vigor of a man in his prime. Vilify. Slander. Waging a highly negative campaign, the candidate attempted to vilify his opponent's reputation. Vindicate. Clear from blame, exonerate, justify or support. The lawyer's goal was to vindicate her client and prove him innocent on all charges. The critics' extremely favorable reviews vindicate my opinion that The Madness of King George is a brilliant movie. Vindictive. Out for revenge, malicious. I think it's unworthy of Martha to be so vindictive, she shouldn't stoop to such petty acts of revenge. Viper. Poisonous snake. The habitat of the horned viper, a particularly venomous snake, is in sandy regions like the Sahara or the Sinai Peninsula. Virile. Manly. I do not accept the premise that a man proves he's virile by being belligerent. Virtual. In essence, for practical purposes, she is a virtual financial wizard when it comes to money matters. Virtue. Goodness, moral excellence, good quality. Virtue carried to extremes can turn into vice. Humility, for example, can degenerate into servility and spinelessness. Virtuoso. Highly skilled artist. The child prodigy Yehudi Menuhin grew into a virtuoso whose violent performances thrilled millions. Virulent. Extremely poisonous, hostile, bitter. Laid up with a virulent case of measles, Vera blamed her doctors because her recovery took so long. In fact, she became quite virulent on the subject of the quality of modern medical care. Virus. Disease communicator. The doctors are looking for a specific medicine to control this virus. Visceral. Felt in one's inner organs. She disliked the visceral sensations she had whenever she rode the roller coaster. Viscid. Adhesive, gluey. The trunk of the maple tree was viscid with sap. Viscous. Sticky, gluey. Melted tar is a viscous substance. Vise. Tool for holding work in place. Before filing its edges, the locksmith took the blank key and fixed it firmly between the jaws of a vise. Visionary. Produced by imagination, fanciful, mystical. She was given to visionary schemes that never materialized. Vital. Vibrant and lively, critical, living, breathing. The vital, highly energetic first aid instructor stressed that it was vital in examining accident victims to note their vital signs. Vitriolic. Corrosive, sarcastic. Such vitriolic criticism is uncalled for. Vituperative. Abusive, scolding. He became more vituperative as he realized that we were not going to grant him his wish. Vivacious. Animated, lively. She had always been vivacious and sparkling. Vociferous. Clamorous, noisy. The crowd grew vociferous in its anger and threatened to take the law into its own hands. Vogue. Popular fashion. Jeans became the vogue on many college campuses.